Okay. Oh, that wasn't Christian Bale. Who the hell was Matthew McConaughey? Matthew McConaughey. Thank you. Okay, that was Matthew McConaughey in I don't remember it being it was Matthew McConaughey, right? I don't remember it being him because Matthew McConaughey usually takes his shirt off. He had the short haircut, and that threw me off. When I think of Matthew McConaughey, I think of him from Tropic Thunder, where he was the agent. Greg, you want a Gonzalez suit? I mean, Bert, you do whatever you want. You hit Gonzalez suit. We're gonna hit that button. But I wanted to talk about these Xbox Series X, or the Xbox Sex, as I like to call it. They announced that they released stats. They released the specs. I'm sorry. I hate this title. I hate that they say that they release specs for it. Specs are numbers. Specs are, you have this much RAM, you have this much memory, you have this much capacity. What they released are not specs. What they released are a bunch of performance goals. What they hope the system's going to do, what they say that they think the system's going to do. These are not specs. These are performance goals. That being said, that's probably my biggest gripe, is that it is not specs. Specs are hard numbers, so they've not released those from what I understand. If somebody knows that if they did, please tell me, because I don't think any of these count. Let's see if I can get a more concise list here. I am looking at, why am I looking at The Guardian? Xbox Series X specs in hard quotes. Let's see here. 4 days ago. Okay. There we go. Tech Radar. Thank you, Tech Radar. I'm gonna get hopefully somebody's got a nice concise list, because I'm a goofball and didn't. Oh my god, Tech Radar. There's so many things loading up on your page. Why are there so many ads loading up on this page? I'm worried that like an ad is just gonna randomly appear and like open up and start playing. Dude, why are there so many ads on this page? Oh my god, Tech Radar. Never mind, Guardian it is. So first of all, it's gonna feature 12 teraflops graphics processor, according to this, 8 times more powerful than the Xbox One. What the hell does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to us to just say 12 teraflops. It doesn't. It's compute power, right? But and compute speed. But that's not a capability. Like, you know what I mean? That's not a hard number for us to look at. That's not us to say, oh, it's 16 gigs of GDDR6 RAM. Like, it's not a hard number. Yeah, teraflops still sound, no, Bobo, teraflops to me sounds like it sounds like one of those words that's not dirty, but it kind of sounds like it is. Like, hey baby, this is my Xbox Sex. Want to see its teraflops? Like, that sounds dirty. I got more flops than James Harden. See? That sounds even dirtier. But that's not a real spec. That's a performance aspect. That is not a solid number on what is in the system. Hey, Sagers. Technology empowers you by game, blah, 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 blah. Microsoft also listed further details about the console, reiterating its use of AMD's Zen 2 CPU microarchitecture and RDNA 2 graphics processing technology. That's fantastic. That's fantastic that they're using Zen 2 architecture. Zen 2 architecture is what is currently being used in AMD's Ryzen series of chips, and the Ryzen series of chips are extremely fantastic. What chip? Several of them are Zen 2 chips. What chip are you talking about? What is going to be in this? How many cores is the chip going to have? These are solid numbers that you should be able to give, but you're not. You're just RDNA 2. RDNA 2 is fantastic. What's the VRAM totals? Numbers like that, they're obviously not. Okay, so hold on. So we got a little bit more here. Inclusion of an SSD drive, that's fantastic. There are slow SSDs and there are fast SSDs. Let's see. The unverified specs. So these are unverified specs. Well, Xbox machine promises 12 teraflops of GPU. The leak suggests PS5 will be operating at 12.6 teraflops, so they're already losing by 0.6 teraflops. However, the unverified specs suggest the Xbox specs will have a slightly faster CPU, 3.7 gigahertz as opposed to 3.6, and a larger capacity SSD, 1 terabyte versus PS5's 500 gigabytes. Those are the most solid numbers I have seen on the specs of the Xbox specs. And 3.7 is terrific. That's a great processor speed. Of course, you know, it doesn't mean anything. You could be running a 3.7 gigahertz system that is old. It doesn't really mean too much. It's a good thing, but it's not a rock solid positive thing. Is it higher than 64 bits? Because the Jaguar has 64 bits. I'm pretty sure hardware-wise it would be very impressive, but Xbox hasn't had the greatest unveiling so far. Are they waiting for PlayStation? Which PlayStation just did theirs, but I don't have their numbers yet. Hey, Mr. L. Microsoft Series, Xbox Series X will also contain some chips and cool ranch flavor, I believe. I think they might be scared that Sony will take note of some of these specs and make PS5 better, even though PS5 hardware is yeah, and that's, well, Bert, they're probably early enough to change things, and that could be what they're worried about. They could be worried about one of their direct competitors just blatantly taking their ideas immediately and doing it better. Honestly, I think console specs are more important to the devs than to us. Mr. L, typically yes, but at this point, you're at the stage where you should be trying to attract devs, because we saw what happened with the Switch. What happened with the Switch was there was not any confidence in the abilities of the Switch. There was a lack of confidence in how the system was going to perform as far as a retail item. When the system started to take off and people started to realize that, oh my God, this is a popular system, you started to see developers jumping on board. And what that means is that for the first year and a half, you were getting a lot of first-party stuff and then some mediocre releases to fill out the time. Now that we're in a few years into the system, now you're getting to the point where people are really starting to appreciate the power of the system, and developers are really starting to use the power of the system. Because as you go forward, you look at any console, the first games to release against the last games to release, there's always a significant boost in performance, because as the years go on, developers understand the architecture of the system more. They're able to build better games in that system. Unfortunately, the Switch got a late start because before the release of the system, there was just not a lot of confidence in it. You know, and that's why when people were complaining about, oh, well, ports, I don't want too many ports on the system. I want as many ports as there could possibly be, because the Wii U had a bunch of fantastic games that didn't get a chance to be popular because the Wii U system was a disaster. So this is your chance to reach an entirely new audience. And while you're filling in those first couple of years with high quality ports, you're giving developers time to develop games that can really take advantage of the system. There needed to be that gap of time. At the same time, the dev kits were handed out months ago, so I think the hardware would be finalized. Yeah, you're right, Bert. If the dev kits were already handed out, there isn't a whole lot they can do with the system. Well, there is some stuff you can do, Bert, because if you increase things like your VRAM, the system will, the games that are being developed on the dev systems now will still work if you change certain things. If you decide to put a 1 terabyte hard drive instead of a 500 gig hard drive, the games that are being developed now are still going to work. So there are hardware changes that you can make. There are refinements in the chips. You know, the Switch supposedly changed over some of their chips from like, it was like the Tegra 1 chip or something, and there's like new version of the Tegra chip. It plays all the same games, but the chip has better thermals. You know, so there are hardware changes that you can make that don't affect negatively the performance of games that are already in development. So they could be worried that they're going to change up some of that stuff. And numbers just sound better. It's for when it comes to technology like this, a lot of the time it's a numbers game. You know, this system may work better than this system by 1%, but this other system comes with a 750 gig hard drive instead of a 500 gig hard drive. That's money and space that excuse me. That's money and space that the consumer can save. So even though there's a 1% performance difference, it's more effective for them to get the 750 gig hard drive. You know, the numbers do change what people see in games, in consoles, I mean. Yeah, give me all the ports. Yeah, Hero Hyrule, give me all the ports they want on the Switch. Give me every GBA game that was of high quality. Give me we're getting Wonderful 101 now finally. Give us Super Mario 3D World, and then maybe there might be one or two Pikmin 3, and then you're done with the Wii U. Like, give me all the ports. Oh, and Metro Prime Trilogy, of course. But I'd rather have a full-blown recreation. It looks like we'll be having a slower transition into next with a lot of cross-platform games. That could be good for Nintendo, as by the time next-gen consoles are out, the Switch successors should be around the corner. I'd eat them all up as soon as I can afford them. Yeah, exactly. That's always the problem. Rune Factory 4 came out too. Yeah, so it's interesting to see what's going to happen. Back to this with a vague launch. Yeah, so it does look like they're hoarding information at this point. What they released were a bunch of performance goals, so it was hard for me to get really excited about that stuff. But it is interesting to see that they're at least talking about it. That's always really nice. So yeah, Xbox Series X, PS5, coming out, to the end of this year, beginning of next year. I think they're trying to say holiday 2020. To go back to your early console versus late console, a good example is the Uncharted series. Compare 1 and 3 differences, just wow. One of the examples that I always think of is Metal Gear. When you look at the first PlayStation games, when you look at stuff like Warhawk, the first Ridge Racer, you know, perfectly playable games, but then there's kind of awful games like Rallycross. Like Rallycross was fun, but it was a bad game. It was visually, it was horrible. And then you play something like Metal Gear, and Metal Gear was spectacular. Metal Gear was an amazing game that I remember us playing and being amazed that it was on PlayStation. Didn't Microsoft say something about backwards compatibility? Yes. My issue with Microsoft's backwards compatibility, I don't know if it's going to be complete full backwards. Is it going to be backwards compatible as in I take my Xbox games and put it in my Xbox Sex and it plays them? Or is it going to be I put my Xbox game in there and it lets me go to a store and download a version of that game? I would love to see full-blown compatibility. Didn't we just start this generation? Why do we need new consoles? Mendez, I thought that too. And then I realized the PS4 is like 5 years old. Remember, you can't go by Nintendo. Nintendo always seems to put their systems in the middle. The PS4 is 7 years old. 6.5 years old. November 15th, 2013. That's a long time. In video games, that's a long time. So that's pretty impressive. When was the Xbox One? Xbox One. Xbox One was November of 2013. Xbox One release date November 22nd. November 22nd. The reason I remember November 22nd was because they did a midnight release at a GameStop not super far from me. I drove to that midnight release because I had pre-ordered Link Between Worlds. And while everybody was buying their Xbox, I was buying Link Between Worlds. You know, I'm not sure if it's something up with the PSN version of Metal Gear Solid 1. I just could not get into the way it looked. I could Metal Gear 2 and 3. Well, it's older. It's older. So, you know. Some call me Johnny. Rating of the party of 127. Thank you so much. I'm gonna mute the what's it called there? Oh, excuse me. Welcome everybody from Some Call Me Johnny stream. I know he was doing sub races. He was doing Mario Kart 8 for the Switch. Mario Kart can suck my love. Mr. Blue Mario sounds like someone was getting carded. Welcome for everybody that is not normally here. This is the Silver Lining. This is a weekly talk show that I do where I interact with the chat about what's going on in gaming. Unfortunately, you missed our big topic earlier, which was we were talking about GameStop and how to fix GameStop. So we tried our very best to fix that company. What we're talking about now, we were talking about the Xbox Series X specs and how they're not really specs, that they are performance goals. But yeah, the Xbox and PS4 are 7 years, 6.5 years at this point since release. That's a pretty long time for consoles. And considering that the next two systems, the Xbox X and the PS5, are still not for roughly a year. So we've still got to squeeze some life out of these consoles. Wait, SGN didn't win first? Yeah, I didn't realize it. I thought that too. When they announced the Xbox X, I thought, like, these systems just came out. And then it's like, no, they came out a while ago. How do you fix a store that's not fixable? Danny, we were talking about that, and our decision was that you're not going to be able to fix GameStop as it exists, but there may be ways to separate GameStop into separate parts and basically salvage the name was sort of the idea that we had. We talked about because they talk about GameStop turning into, you know, they've got the console set up where you can play games. We talked about turning some of them into retro stores, turning others. What's that? Turning others into. See, I was sort of. Yeah, but Danny, that's the thing though. We're actually trying to save GameStop. We were actually trying to figure out if there's a way to do it. Just gonna squeeze the last of the money juice out of these consoles before. Yeah, and Gator, that's what's gonna happen with the PS4 and Xbox, is that we're gonna start seeing some more stuff. What I want to do, what I'd like to do, is look at a back-to-back of some of the first PS4 games and some of the last PS4 games, and see if there was a performance gap. One of my biggest arguments with modern consoles today is that we're not seeing the dramatic jumps that we used to. One of the biggest graphics jumps I remember seeing was PS4 into PS5. I'm sorry, PS1 into PS2. When you play the PS1, you thought, "Oh my god, this is awesome." When you play the PS2, I remember thinking, this is amazing. Like, this is unbelievable. The games look like the CG cutscenes. Oh my god, this is it. When the PS3 came out, I just remember thinking that it kind of looked like a souped up PS2. I remember thinking that it wasn't that spectacular, especially not when you consider the PS3 originally was what, $600. I don't remember looking at the PS3.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Thank you. By the way, before I forget, because I do like to cover everybody. LPB the actor, retrospect Greg. Hey. Mario Kart Gamer 123, Aethor, Shadow Fox, Noob Artist, and Bastion Zero. Thank you so much for the follow. Very, very much appreciate that. Good to have you on board. Yeah, the PS1 to PS2 jump was pretty darn good back in the day. It was spectacular. I just remember being the Xbox, OG Xbox to 360 was remarkable. But other than that, yeah, I don't remember. You know, PS2 to PS3 was not amazing. PS3 to PS4 was more lackluster than that. So I'm interested to see the last gen of PS4 games, what they'll look like against the first gen of PS5 games. I don't think it's going to be that impressive. Not impressive enough to run out and get the system day one. People, of course, are going to get the system day one. If both of those systems, specifically the PS5, if both of those systems are full, regular, backwards compatible out of the box, if I can plug up my PS5 and stick my PS1, 2, 3, and 4 discs into it, I would consider getting a PS5 day one. But other than that, I'm just going to have to wait. I'm going to have to wait anyway because it's going to be like $500, which is another thing they talked about. They talked about the price of the PS5 and how they don't know whether or not they're going to be able to sell it at $450. And I remember reading the articles for it and watching videos for it and thinking, sell it at $500. I think at this point $500 is what everybody's expecting it to be. So just sell it at $500. GameStop game isn't doing well either. It used to be 3 in my general area, now down to 1. But Mr. L, is that 1 doing well? Maybe that 1 is doing well because now it's getting the business of the other 2. That's interesting. I think they know we're at the point that graphics are so minor in upgrades. They're now more focused on pushing render on screen. Frame rate. Yeah, you're right. Frame rate just making it look busier than older games. My biggest problem with that is that your TV is dependent on that. I have not made the jump to 4K. My TV is 1080p. It's 120 frames per second, which is beautiful, but I haven't attached anything that takes advantage of the 120 frames. So like I haven't put my PC on my computer, on my TV or anything. But in order to get those benefits, you need to invest in that television, in that technology. So it's weird that it's great that that's a thing that they're focusing on. Your ideas are
intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Superstar Man, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. It's interesting that that's what they're focusing on. Don't worry, guys. Ray tracing. I'm Bobo. I'm very hyped for ray tracing. I think ray tracing is a follow of Weather Bomb. Yeah. I'm excited for ray tracing. If anybody has seen the CryEngine video from last year that demoed some ray tracing, oh my god, 120 frames per second. Just sounds like it would be too much motion sickness for me. Danny, it depends. It depends if something takes advantage of it. Maybe if you're sitting too close, it helps to sit further away. I wonder with my monitor here, my monitor's like 3 feet away from me actually. So I'd be interested to see, because I only have a 60 hertz PC monitor. I want to switch over to a 144 hertz or something, something with a higher refresh rate. I'd be interested to see how queasy it makes me. I remember certain games, for FPS games especially, old FPS games like Doom, used to make me queasy when I looked at them. So I'd be interested to see with a high refresh rate if that makes it better or worse. Because even now when I play games like Killing Time on the 3DO, I get a little queasy. And that game has a atrocious frame rate. Killing Time on the 3DO, I want to say, was like 20-25 frames. That's a horrible game. It's a great game, but it's horrible frame rate, horrible performance. Can't wait till another decade with 900 FPS. Yeah, what's up with 900 FPS Bowser, man? 900 FPS Bowser on YouTube was great until they capped the frame rate. All I'm hearing is a bunch of numbers and I'm already lost. I could see being PS5 being backwards compatible for PS4, but the PS1 through 3 uses a different chip, and 4 has issues with emulating it. So I'd be interested to see if they build in some sort of internal emulation for PS1, 2, and 3. As a streamer, I like the idea of the PS5 being fully backwards compatible with everything, because that streamlines a lot of stuff here. That means that I can play every one of those generation and not have to worry about hooking up a different system. It's a very niche reason to have a system, but damn it, it would help a lot. And I don't like emulating. I try not to emulate. So if they release an official emulator device, I'd be okay with it. The only reason I have a PS2 and 3 is due to the lack of backwards compatibility. Yeah. That's the reason why PS2 classes on PS4 tend to be a lot more jank than it used to be. Yeah, and that's why PS2 games I would just rather hook up a system and play. But isn't PS2 and PS3 emulation? PS2 and PS3 emulation is kind of a nightmare. The problem with emulation is that typically you're doing it from outside of the system. You know, you're trying to rip as much as you can, and you're trying to understand the architecture of the programming. But realistically, you are doing it with a lot of outside information. If Sony, with their access to the information archives, the true information archives, were to actually take a stab at emulation, I have a feeling they would annihilate it, and it would be perfect. PS3 is still a bitch to emulate. It's almost like the Saturn. Yeah, in the Saturn, that's why you just get a flash card. I really hope the PS2 backwards compatibility is not as bad as PS4's. It was unacceptable, especially with Jack and Daxter. I have a PS3 that plays PS1 games, and I have a PS2. Well, all PS3s play PS1 games. And I have a PS2 and PS4 for their games. So really, I'm good with my setup. Yeah, but now, Danny, imagine the PS5 that just plays it all and plays it almost perfectly. Not bad. That it definitely streamlines the process. Yeah, I have the PS2 the PS3 that plays PS2 games, and unfortunately it does overheat, so I try not to use it. But the games look great. I thought the games played perfectly when I was playing PS2 games on it. I thought they played well. We were playing Contra Shattered Soldier, and it worked perfectly fine. So yeah, if the actual company does the emulation, I suspect that they're going to do it in a killer way. So that's interesting. If the PS5 handles that way, Xbox, I care a little bit less. You know what I mean? Xbox One is a great system that I don't own, because the only game I would like to own on Xbox One that is unique to the system is Killer Instinct. That's it. I don't Halo 5 I had no interest in trying, even though I did like the Halo series. What was the other one? Were they the ones with Sunset Overdrive? It looked fun, but not enough for me to go buy an Xbox just to play that one game. You do have a point there. I do think it'd be cool to play all my PS games in HD on a modern game. Not sure if I just don't know if it'll happen, Danny. It's a nice pipe dream at this point. 360's emulation of OG Xbox games could be janky, but still remarkable when you consider the two systems ran a completely different architecture. Yeah, but they did that whole thing where you needed to put the game in and download. They basically let you decide. They decided which games you were allowed to play and backwards compatibility. Yeah, Xbox games all I want to play is Banjo-Kazooie. And Blinks. You gotta play Blinks the Time Cat. Is Sunset Overdrive multiplat now? I don't even know. See how much I care about it? Like I just really want to know now if the PS5 is backwards compatible with PS2, so I don't have to invest converting my PS2 to HDMI TV, HDMI only TV.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs!
Oh boy, that is frustrating. Okay, so it looks like we're back. That kind of pisses me off. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm super pissed off right now. That's the second time this week that happened, and it looks like an OBS problem. So I may need to update my OBS. Dickelberg. Yeah. Wow. That kind of pisses me off. So yeah, backwards compatibility. I'm so frustrated and flustered right now. I didn't do anything to cause that, and all of a sudden it's happening. Happy thoughts. Guten Tag. I thought we lost you forever. No. I'm here. I hope I didn't lose all of you forever. Is my issue. There were a lot of people here, and I hate when that happens, and there's a lot of people. I mean, I hate when that happens, and there's like nobody here, but that's kind of frustrating. Happy thoughts, Island Getaway Package. Hero Hyro, that's actually a sad thought for me. It's sad thinking about Animal Crossing because now I want to play it and now I don't have it. GameStop got mad at us for talking about how we could fix them. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring this back up. And we're gonna open it up into viewer topics. So since now I'm terrified about the stream crashing, we're gonna open this up to viewer topics. So if you have any topics that you would like to bring up and discuss, anything at all, any questions that you want to ask me, you're more than welcome to do so. This is your opportunity to drive the show, as it were. So if you wanted to, I don't know if you want to make a huge donation and tell me to end the stream now, you go right ahead and do that. Let's talk about devs leaving convention. I don't actually need this mic anymore. Let's talk about devs leaving conventions due to the virus, if that's okay. So the big thing happening now, obviously, is the coronavirus, and a bunch of devs are pulling out of GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. Okay, I understand people want to be safe. I understand that people don't want to put themselves in a situation where they could contract this illness. These illnesses always annoy the hell out of me. And more importantly, it's everybody's reaction to them that annoys the hell out of me. There have been a limited number of cases of coronavirus and something like less than 5% mortality rate. People who are contracting the illness are getting treatment, and the treatment works, and it is saving their lives. Clearly, unfortunately, yes, there are a few people who have lost their lives. Here's my problem whenever these what I call designer diseases come out. Yeah, it's swine flu, it's bird flu, it's all of these diseases. Here's the issue. The flu, the regular flu that we're all used to, kills thousands of people every year, and nobody ever cares. If you want to be concerned about the new designer disease, that's understandable. It is nerve-wracking, especially when you watch the news and all they talk about is coronavirus. It's hurting people. People are getting sick. There's a new case here. There's a new case there. You know, you look at these maps. You look at the maps of the world, and they highlight every country that has had one case of coronavirus. And you see all of these countries lit up, and you think, oh my God, it's spreading. It's around the world. And then you realize that most of these countries, like the United States is on there. The United States is highlighted as they have determined there's coronavirus here. Like 20 people. If even that. Like somebody got off a plane and had coronavirus, and then that highlights the US, and it's like, it's the racism disease of the year. Unfortunately, that is accurate because there are people aiming at China and other Asian countries as the source. If you really care about getting sick and dying, and you don't want to get sick, you don't want to catch this illness and die, the reality, unfortunately, is that you're probably going to be scared 24 hours a day because the flu kills more people than any of these designer diseases have ever killed somebody. And I should know because I have beaten every scenario of Plague Inc. Multiple times. And so if anybody's going to know about spreading a disease, it's going to be me. Yeah, mad cow disease. Around 80,000 people confirmed infected. 3,000 have unfortunately died because of it. That's 3,000 out of 80,000. That's 3,000 out of 80,000 out of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who get the flu and go to work with the flu and don't go to the doctor for the flu.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Agent Right 2010, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, welcome. It's fear-mongering. AR, exactly. It's fear-mongering. It is controlling the populace through by way of elevating their level of concern so that you can guide certain things in certain ways. It sounds like a conspiracy theory until you realize it just keeps happening. And next year, there'll be another disease with another fancy name on it that scares the hell out of people, even though like 20 people got it. Meanwhile, nobody gives a crap that you can go outside and exchange money and get the flu from 100 different people. Totally agree with you. Seeing people get outrageous towards Asian people over it is just ridiculous, incredibly stupid. I feel like several Chinese restaurants went out of business because of people thinking they would get sick if they ate there. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that the common cold is the coronavirus, as is the flu, novel corona, or like corona 18 or 19. Yeah, but they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. They want you to panic. They want you to be concerned. They have these people canceling these conferences. Meanwhile, how many of us go to conventions all the time and talk to people and shake their hands, and we could get way more sick? We laugh now, but when the zombie outbreak occurs, I mean, hey, if the coronavirus turns into the zombie outbreak, you just got to take your hat off and admit that you were wrong. You know what I mean? You just gotta say, look, I was wrong. But for right now, unfortunately, we have seen this pattern multiple times. It happens every year to 2 years, and it thankfully, nothing incredibly severe comes from it. Yes, it is unfortunate that a few thousand people lost their lives, and I don't mean to sound like I'm trivializing that, because that is a devastating situation to happen to those people and their families. It is absolutely horrible, but in the grand scheme of things, it's you want everybody to have this reaction for those people and their families. But literally thousands of people die every year from flu and flu-related symptoms, and nobody cares. Everybody acts like, I mean, it's called the common cold. You know, the flu, like the flu it's so common, and I don't know, it's like a pet peeve of mine that they slapped a fancy name on it, so that's what's driving everybody insane. Which I also just kind of feel bad for the Corona beer company, because I'm sure they're suffering from this. Again, not as bad as the suffering of everybody else, but it still kind of sucks. I'm not trying to sound mean. Yeah, I'm not trying to sound mean about people losing their lives. I always feel bad hearing that someone died. I just wish the media would stop treating it. So I don't mind it treating it, Danny. I don't mind it treating it negatively, because it is negative. I do feel like it is, you're blowing it out of proportion. It is the amount of concern being thrown towards it is disproportionate to the severity of the issue, because realistically there are way more significant illnesses out there. If anything, if you want me to be worried about coronavirus so badly, why don't you give me free healthcare so that I can go to the doctors and get myself checked out? Because quite frankly, if I develop some sort of flu or something like that, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to get Dayquil, and I'm going to do the same thing I always do when I get sick, because I can't afford to go to the doctor on a whim. I can't afford to go to the hospital and run a battery of tests to see if I have an illness, because then my illness is going to be I don't have any more money. The other thing I heard, with current infected to death ratio, fatality rates around 2%. It's highly infectious, but also burns itself out too fast. Yeah. Problem is you can't get a shot for the coronavirus. It's just the flu without a cure. You can't get a shot for the flu either. The flu shot is a preventative measure. When you talk about, when winter rolls around and they talk about people going and getting their flu shot, that is a vaccination. If you already have the flu, you have the flu. That's sort of the same thing. I think if you have the flu, you're not even allowed to get the flu shot. Just ordered a new coat from China. As I said, should I invest in converting my PS2 to HD? I would wait for the PS5. I mean, if the converting your PS2 isn't super expensive, then go ahead and do that for now, because the PS5 is not going to be for maybe a year, and that's assuming you were to get it within the first run. I don't know. I would look into that. Me personally, I'm fine with if you pick up. Actually, you know what, Emil? I would recommend something like the RetroTink, where you can plug your component device into it and output an HDMI. That seems like it would be the one-all solution for most of your retro systems. Yeah, I think I meant more. I'm sick of the media blow. Yeah, and that's what it is. It is being blown out of proportion. I can recall a few different illnesses, diseases emerging and spreading throughout my life. I feel like there's a similar reaction to the illnesses. Yeah, they're all here at Hyrule. There always is. We talked about swine flu, bird flu. The avian flu was the bird flu. But there were a couple more. I know there were a couple more. Mad cow disease. They happen all the time. They happen all the time, and they slap a fancy name on it to scare everybody, and unfortunately it works. Which you should be scared of these diseases, because a medical situation will kill anybody that it wants to. But realistically, you should be taking preventative measures against the flu, and if you are preventative against the flu, you're probably protected against everything else too. Oh, you can get a shot within a few days. It's like 4 max. Okay. Metroid Fusion got vaccines so wrong. Yeah, it kind of sucks that those people are canceling. You know, it's unfortunate for GDC. You know, and I feel bad for the people who bought tickets to go to the Game Developers Conference, and now you have all of these companies pulling out of it, and it's really not. It really kind of sucks. It kind of sucks for them. I hope that they, honestly, realistically, at this point, they should probably just cancel the event and start refunding people's tickets, because that's really not. I don't know. I just think that kind of sucks. You know, or move the venue, or reschedule the event. You know, tell people that their tickets will still be valid for a different time. It's just the biggest problem is that people need time to cancel. You know, if you wait till the last minute to cancel GDC, and you tell everybody, "Oh, okay, we're not going to do it anymore. We'll refund your tickets." They probably still have like hotel rooms and stuff that now they can't cancel without being charged some sort of huge penalty. Should be cautious, but if you normally keep yourself healthy, you don't really have anything to worry about. Yeah. The Olympics are thinking, yeah, no way they're going to cancel the Olympics. Sorry, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to be a pandemic, but you should ask. They're going to use it to create a segregation of minority. Yeah, they're going to use it to create some sort of separation all the time. Hey, have to head to work. Fun stream as always. See y'all later. There, thank you, Hero Hyrule. Have a good one. Enjoy yourself at work. I mean, we're probably going to wrap up here too. There's only so much coronavirus we can go around with. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we just wrap up here? Why don't we just we'll shut that off. Because I'm still, if I'm being completely honest, I'm still kind of pissed off about the stream shutting off. So let me get all my buttons ready, because I always have all of these things that I'm supposed to do. Capcom are pulling a few of their legs for the Pro Tour competitions too. No, good lord. Anyone got? Yeah, Neon Mole, you're right. Unless we've got a more positive topic to end up on, because I don't want to end up on something. So chicken McNuggets or burger? Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets. I would always say chicken nuggets over burgers. Absolutely. I'm not a huge burger person. Remember when Ebola was made into such a big deal a while back? Yeah, and then they forgot about it. Danny, I wonder what political thing they were trying to cover up was going on when they made Ebola such a big issue. Regular nuggets. Regular nuggets. I spicy. I can't handle spicy anymore. Now I might have to go and get some nuggets. Anyone get their hands on a Switch SNES controller after the restock? John Poncho, I did not get my hands on a Switch SNES controller after the restock. I did get the first run though. Yeah, it's a good controller. It is actually a good controller. GOG's refund policy change. I am not familiar with GOG. I don't really follow them. I saw that they were something about the refund, that they changed something. I don't know what it was. I'm playing Symphony of the Night for the first time. It's good. About all I got for topics. Hey, Symphony of the Night is always a good topic. I'm so scared of the common flu right now. I hear it's killing more people than you know, Jazz. Unfortunately, that's a typical truth. That's the sad truth of it. I had to wait for the restock. It's a good controller. It's a little hefty. Because of the extra tech that's in there, it's got a little bit more heft than a regular SNES controller, which I like. I like that there's a little more meat to it. Yeah, I'm not familiar with GOG's refund policy. I'll have to look that up. That's I've never used GOG. I remember when the people were first talking about GOG, and I thought they were making some sort of a joke. But we are going to wrap it up here. We'll wrap it up here. You cannot refund a game on GOG for any reason, no matter how long you played it. That's interesting. That's pretty weird. That seems a bit much. Just add a refund policy. Yeah, no questions asked refund, because that's what they're saying. Yeah, no refund, no questions asked is pretty brutal. Oh, and by the way, sorry, sad news. Konami code guy passed away. Now I feel bad because I don't have his name ready. The gentleman that created the Konami code passed away, unfortunately. So he is a legend among the gaming universe. Yeah, it's this GOG thing. It looks interesting. I've never used GOG. I've never actually gone on. Like I said, I thought it was some sort of Guardians of the Galaxy reference. I wish we had more happy topics. Yeah, like it's a kind of bummer, but it is what it is. GOG is amazing. Jasmine, I'd love to see your NES collection sometime. I showed it off in a video once. If you go through my YouTube channel, I did show it off in a video one time. Actually, I think I just showed off my game collection in like broad view, but I didn't actually go over every single game. That I've never done. I've never gone over every single game. How much would I want this? I don't have a huge history with Resident Evil, so I'm not. That doesn't float my boat the way it does other people. Admittedly, though, it would be cool to have just so I could go through all the Resident Evil games. It would be a much more streamlined way of going through all of those games. Kazuhisa Hashimoto was his name. So rest in peace, sir. You are a hero, and I don't know how you feel about your legacy being up, down, left, right, BA start, but we will never forget it. We definitely won't. Good old games. You think the name alone would attract you? Now, good old games does attract me. GOG does not. So yeah. Thank you everybody for stopping in and for hanging out. Very much enjoyed having everybody here. Thank you everybody that showed up from the raid. I apologize for the stream dying on us. That was very frustrating. I may need to update my OBS and look into that. If you are watching this live right now, feel free to go ahead and click follow if you have not already. Also, if you want to sub, that's always appreciated. And if you have a Twitch Prime sub, feel free to use that here also. That would be very much appreciated. Also, follow us over on Twitter, which is where I post any sort of updates about what's going to be going on for the stream. And I post a lot of fun stuff too, so at least I think it's fun. We also have a Discord channel, so feel free to join the Discord channel. Go in there and have some fun conversations with a lot of fun people. If you are watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below. Follow us over on Twitter and Discord. I'm not going to post YouTube, but follow us here. Follow us here, so do all of that stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let me get my other buttons ready here. But thank you, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Play some fun games. Go visit your local GameStop and try and cheer them up a little bit, since morale seems to be low there. And I will see you all, once I get my button here, next time.